Hello and welcome everyone to this very important update on Tesla. And as you probably know, over the last few days since Thursday last week, we had kind of a turmoil going on in the Tesla community with Trump and Elon and the fallout. So let's take a look where we are today and what the stock is doing. First of all, what's happening last week? What did we see happening? And here, if you remember that on Thursday, you saw this giant drop, 14% down, all the way to 285. Why? Because you know the story. Elon and Trump had a so-called fallout and the stock dropped like a stone. Now, I was very quick to call that out. I was actually on Herbert Ong on the Cyber Bulls. I'm the Pioneer Bull. And I was there with Alexandra, with CERN, and with Herbert Ong. And we discussed the whole situation. And I made very clear what I think. And I was of the same opinion as CERN. I elaborated on it on X, that this is kind of fake news and that this fallout is either manufactured or convenient for both parties. The most important takeaway from that is don't take it seriously. It doesn't mean anything and it doesn't change anything. We actually got covered by Barron's. I love the Barron's magazine and the Barron's publication. This is a great financial publication, and they actually covered my position on this whole thing. As you see here, Joe Bakhti and CERN Basher believe it was manufactured. The fight was manufactured and don't believe there will be lasting fallout. Musk separating from Trump will help the company win back left-leaning car buyers and buyers in China who are avoiding US-made products with trade tensions high. That's not totally exactly what I said, but they're right that I believe this is going to go away very quickly. And that was an important information on Thursday when it happened, on Friday when it happened, and over the weekend. Hey, creating these videos is a lot of work. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Now let's get back to the video. And what we actually saw, Trump is already signaling peace, was signaling peace already over the weekend. But this came out, I think, yesterday. I think that was yesterday. And
It was
I hope
blurring
you guys
the line between
hear that.
recreation.
You can read it down here.
think-
I wish him well. So Trump says this was very
that he did not
important.
want
It's
to
all
talk
about the
about.
little hints here you have to get. Trump says, you know what? He did not take the bait. They threw baits at him, anti-Elon baits on the plane. A lot of anti-Elon baits. And he basically said, like, passed each of the baits 10 times. He said, look, I don't want to comment on it. But in this press conference, he basically said, look, I wish Elon well, very well, actually. That's what he literally said. Look, I look Elon well. And then he paused and said, I wish him very well, actually. So, I mean, this is clear what's going on. And Elon took down his Epstein tweets about Trump. So it was clear on the outset, either manufactured or phony. It was very clear that these two men will not have a fallout, that these two men need each other, that a little drama, a little separation is beneficial for both of them. It keeps the whole press active. And you probably saw the comments of Megyn Kelly, the Fox News anchor who led the first important debate with Trump in 2016, where they had a giant fallout, Trump and Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly today or last week commented on the whole Elon and Trump thing in a way that was very insightful, where she said when she had her peace meeting after months of hammering, getting hammered by Trump after that debate where he really didn't like what she said, and he hammered her very viciously for months and months and months. It was the biggest drama ever. Then they had a peace summit, she and her in Trump Tower, and they agreed to have peace again and like each other again. And when she left the room, said when she was getting up to leave the room, Trump said, Megyn, but you know, it's not good when they don't talk about us. And that blew her mind because it shows you what Trump is really doing here. Trump wants the drama because he wants to dominate the news cycles. Every drama is good. So he basically, created and manufactured this whole thing for fun. There might in the moment have been some personal sentiments involved here, but these men like this who are master propagandists on both sides, Elon knows how to play the press, Trump knows how to play the press and the public. They know what they're doing. They have no real incentive here of going against each other. So I knew this is phony, and we see the recovery. We can actually look at the real-time stock price right now. We see what's going on here. It keeps going up, and people, it's amazing how short-term the memory of most people is. They are now wondering, why is Tesla going up like crazy, 3%, and yesterday, whatever it was, 5-6% up? Well, because it dropped like a stone. We were at 360 last week, or 350 or something. So it's great. We will have a great recovery here because Robotaxi is launching. This was a completely phony drop. Here we were at 5 days ago, we were at 345 on June 4th. Now we are June 10th. So we basically are down, significantly, nearly 10% for nothing, even though we have Robotaxi launch. So I believe it was a great time to buy. I believe it's still an amazing time to buy, not investment advice, but you know my convictions. I'm keep loading up here. Very nice setup. These kinds of drops are beautiful. Every time the stock drops without a real cause, you have to quickly make up your mind, of course, if there's a real cause or not. It's a great time to buy. So what else do we have going on next? This week, very likely, probably one of the most important moments in the history of the stock, Austin Robotaxi launch. So, you know all about it. If not, you have been asleep behind the wheel, no pun intended. We will launch the Robotaxi fully autonomous commercial service in Austin, Texas, very likely this week, maybe on Thursday. Some people say it's Thursdays when they launch these things. They have all approvals now, and the 10 Model Ys or 20, whatever many it is, are standing ready in Austin to get launched. And this will kick off the most important thing ever in the history. So let me show you some tabs here to go a little bit into the quantification of what's going on. This is one of my favorite models here, and I first show you big picture why I'm so bullish, why I actually, as you saw in the title, believe we have a 125% undervaluation looking 3 months forward. So this line here, this is a month by month line. Here's the stock price. Of course, here's a projection of the stock price. Forget about this going forward, but here's the June stock price and the discount. What is the red line? The red line is the fair value monthly. So I'm breaking it down in my model. I know the year end. I actually corrected it down a little bit for technical reasons because I refined my free cash flow model a little bit, not the EBITDA model, but doesn't matter. It's just technicalities. But I brought down my target price to 806 end of the year if we hit certain things. 806, in my opinion, will be the fair future value that is based on a more complex model here, where I'm basically modeling out all the different things with a discounted cash flow model, valuation model. And this assumes we have a robo fleet of, how many are these? 100 robotaxis in 2025 and 100,000. No, these are, let me think, this is 100,000. Yeah, I only assume, actually it doesn't really matter what happened this year for the big in the big scheme of things. But I'm assuming 1,000 robotaxis here, and then 100,000 next year. That's the important number. And then 750,000 in 2025. So it's still way less than Elon projects. Even in 2028, I only assume 2 million robotaxis. Only, of course, if you're a conservative analyst, you think I'm nuts. But if you're Elon, you think I'm way too conservative. As you can see, it's not a crazy assumption. 100,000 robotaxis on the ground, active end of next year in 18 months. And the big question is, are we getting there? If we get there, I think these numbers are baked in. If we get to 100,000 robotaxis, we will get to 1 million and 2 million in very short order. The big question is, are we getting to 100,000? And that is the all decisive question. So here you have a whole valuation model. You have my target share prices here based on an updated free cash flow model. And the monthly fair value is basically broken down by looking at the December number. And then, this is of course a little naive, the model from going on from here, but I'm breaking it down month by month, right? Assuming a linear increase to the target in December. So we can actually see what it should be monthly. And the fair value in June today is $616 in my model. And the fair value in September is 711. That gives you these two numbers. That's the number how much discount we get. We have a 50% discount on the true intrinsic value looking forward if these assumptions are true, getting 50% discount, which means you would have an immediate 95% upside. I mean, 616 is the fair price, and right now you get it for 315. And you have a 125% upside looking at September. So if you buy now, it would approach the fair value, the true future fair value of the stock. You can get to 711, which is 125%. Now, I'm not saying it approaches that fair value right now this year, but it's a magnet. If that is the true fair value, the stock has to get there eventually and even exceed it. Oh, that's how I think about these things. And that is why all I see when the stock drops like crazy, like what just happened, I go into my model, I look at if anything has changed, and if nothing has changed in my projections and the stock drops, all it does is that the discount for that stock goes up. That's how you do sustainable and professional long-term investing. You look at the stock, you have your valuation, you have your conviction, and if something happens that makes the stock drop, you quickly, very quickly, as we have seen now, look at the situation, listen to the right people, make up your mind and decide what just happened. Is it real? Is it not real? Does it have a real impact on the free cash flow of that company? Or is it a nothing burger that just gives me cheaper shares and then you buy it? So that's the situation. And now the situation is behind us. The market is now understanding, okay, Joe was right and CERN was right. And nothing happened. Stupid. The stock dropped from 322. We are nearly there, back to 322. I think these drops were not Trump induced. I'm not totally sure if this was already the Trump drama here on June 4th. I think it was this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one. I remember this. It was in the middle of the day and Trump was talking. German chancellor was there. And exactly here at 12 p.m., this thing started dropping. And so 322 is basically the price of the stock before the drama happened. We are exactly back. So you could have captured that value very easily by just listening to me on Cyberbooks, listening to CERN, making up your mind, agreeing with us and buying the share. Now we are back here. So from here, what's going to happen now? Trump is over. Elon Trump feud is over. What happens now? Well, now everything goes back into this model, the Robotaxi launch projections. As you can tell, I believe the stock should be at 616 right now. It's at 320. Why is that? Because the street, the analysts, do not understand the trajectories we are potentially on. Here you see the long-term trajectory of this whole thing. Let me zoom in a little bit. Here you see the long-term trajectory of the thing. And what I'm talking about is the Robotaxi, the numbers of Robotaxi, and how many of these Robotaxis are being deployed. Actually, these are not the numbers. Here are the numbers. Here you see the free cash flow of the Robotaxis coming in. I covered that in a previous video, but I just repeat it quickly. So what you see, the green line for me is the inflection point for Wall Street, where you reach a forcing function, where every analyst has to agree with me. So if any of these lines, the yellow, the red, and the blue line, are possible trajectories of Robotaxi scaling. So I just put it into trajectories. Blue means we scale much slower than I expect, as a blue line. Red means we are scaling as I expected it will scale. And yellow means we scale a little faster. I'll go into the number in a second. If in the green line, what it represents, all these trajectories here are translated into free cash flow for Tesla based on Robotaxi margins coming in. And the green line represents what is, in my opinion, roughly the forcing function inflection point where everyone has to agree with me. Under the green line, even if you're on these free cash flow trajectories, I think if you're completely difficult, you can still not agree with me. But once we hit the green line, no one and no bank and no investment bank and no analyst can continue to disagree with me. That's my theory. And what is the green line? The green line is 5% of Tesla free cash flow in 2024. So the green line represents 5% of the entire company's free cash flow, the central valuation metric going forward of all of Tesla in 2024. So what does it all mean? I have the conviction if Robotaxi brings in 5% of total cash flow of the entire company in 2024, everyone will have to admit it's game over. He unlocked a crazy new free cash flow stream that will now scale and transform the company in ways that everyone is underestimating. Because if you hit this 5% line, but you're growing at 10 to 20% a month on free cash flow, it's totally game over. As you can tell how steep that thing goes up, right? You can tell this is a very steep month by month increase, or even the red one is very steep, right? And it goes crazy here. So you're very quickly then rapidly, not just approaching 100%, but exceeding 100% of free cash flow in 2024, which just means that Tesla as a company doubles their entire free cash flow and then some. So how do we know if we are on the right trajectories? Well, we have that model here that has a higher resolution, where I'm removing the green line and only looking at the months now. So that is our great mission at Pioneerlands, the biggest Tesla shareholder community in the world, with the most assets under self-management, close to $750 million, by the way. We will have a video on this tomorrow where I give you guys an update over Pioneerlands and what we have built so far. We have an amazing community, nearly 2,000 members, nearly 150 citizens now, members who pay the citizen fee where they get free access to the Pioneer Academy that allows us to build out more and more great content, educational content, but also models. Now, what the Pioneer Lands and the Pioneer Academy does, we are focusing our efforts, our collective efforts. And Pioneer Lands is free, of course. You don't have to become a citizen. You can just join. And there's lots of great discussions, all in the video tomorrow. But why are we and how do we generate value for everyone in Pioneer Lands? We do it by looking at these kinds of things, having people and boots on the ground in Austin, having eyes, many, many eyes, nearly 2,000 pairs of very intelligent eyes. I mean, some of you guys have a lot of shares, tens of thousands of Tesla shares, tens of millions in Tesla. So we have the smartest Tesla investment community in the world and the biggest. And we are going to look at this. And our job is, before anyone else, to see on what trajectory we are actually on. Why is this so important? Because, to connect the dots here, if we have the right trajectories and we identify that we are on the yellow line or the red line or the blue line, whatever line we are on, we can predict with this model when we hit that forcing function. Now, of course, 5%, I just made it up. That's just a gut feeling. Maybe Wall Street starts to get it already at 3% or 2%, or they need until 7 or 8%. But it's very clear that Wall Street cannot wait until 10%. You cannot wait until 10% of free cash flow with a massively increasing cash flow. Forget it. So I think 5% is the latest point, in my opinion, where Wall Street will flip and accept the ARK price targets of 2,500, whatever it is, 1,000. You will see price targets going up to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 once that happens. And that boosts the stock probably beyond 1,000 and very quickly. So if we understand that and we can project that, then it's an enormous alpha to you and me to understand in, let's say, September this year. Wait a moment, we are actually on the yellow trajectory. The latest point where Wall Street will flip and drive the stock beyond 1,000 is December. Or we on the red line where we see the latest point they will understand it is February, March next year. Timing is everything. If you can project these things, you can start buying call options, leaps, whatever you want, because now you have a timing and an exact time when things are likely to happen. Of course, nothing is exact, but I tell you, these kinds of forcing functions are incredibly powerful, because if there's one thing that counts on Wall Street, it is free cash flow. So that's why we have to watch this. And how do we do this? We translate this in this model that you can get in the Pioneer Academy, by the way, for download. We see here what that actually means in terms of robotaxis with an exact model of numbers of robotaxis commercially deployed. So in June, and this is all whenever we launch. So if that's 15th, it basically means we want to have these numbers on the 15th of June, right? So this means the first month after launch. So if I say June, I actually mean now 15th of July, depending when the launch is. So 4 weeks in, 8 weeks in, 12 weeks in, and so on and so forth. I can actually update these numbers maybe to make it more clear, basically shifted a month. And what you will see here is in the first month, of course, these three trajectories will be not very visible, right? Maybe we have 20 in the slow trajectory, we have 20, in the expected we have 30, in the fast we have 50, but who the hell knows? First month doesn't really count. But in the second month, they will start to separate more. Either we have only 30 after 8 weeks, so not much scaling, or we have 100, or we have 200. And in September, in the slow trajectory, I predict we have 70 robotaxis in Austin. That would be very slow. Well, we have 500. That would be expected, actually. I expect to have 500 robotaxis in September. Let's see. These are not predictions because I really don't know, but I think expected is the most likely here. Or we have 1,000. If things just work and they keep doubling every month, you get screwed to 1,000, and so on. And if you actually in December have 4,500 Model Ys deployed, if driving, it's just game over. Because if you have 4,500, as you can see here, you will hit the green line already, which tells you how profitable these robotaxis are. So that's the theory, and we will cover that very in depth. This is all starting this week, and it's all about understanding these models and modeling this out in real time so we know what trajectory we are on. This is very exciting because it's the first time that we have a model here where you can plug in your observations, gather real information, put them on trajectories, translate them into free cash flows, and then understand what it does with the stock price and valuations. All of these are approximations, but they're very well-informed approximations, and the logics between these data points, they are pretty thought through. So that is what's going on here. It's an incredibly exciting time. I hope to see you guys in Pioneer Lands. You know, we have amazing things going on there. I can show you a little example how this looks like. You know, here's Pioneer Lands. It's a great community. We have all these great discussions. You have a Tesla chat here with all these real-time discussions. If you're a citizen, you can go into the citizen chat where we have a little bit more in-depth exchanges of information here. We have the Pioneer Academy chat where we discuss the things that are happening with the models and discuss what's the latest in models. We also have politics chat. We have AI and AGI chats, right? What's happening in the world of artificial intelligence in real time, incredibly exciting stuff, all happening in Pioneer Lands, where we build the future and prepare for the post AGI moment where we will enter a totally new world and economy. And Tesla, of course, is one of the central drivers to participate in that future. So I hope to see you there, and I hope to see you very soon. Tomorrow we have a video out describing the latest metrics and performance metrics from all of us in Pioneer Lands, including Tesla assets under management with an update. That will be very exciting. And that is it for now. I hope to see you very soon. Watch what happens to Tesla. Leave your comments and see you tomorrow.